Hello everyone, Fun and Reviews here. Today we will be starting a series on haunted places around the world. We will be starting with the different states and then move on to other countries unless I get enough people making requests for a specific place. The info here was gathered from the website The Shadowlands. It's an enjoyable read if you like supernatural things. We will be starting with Alaska, so let's begin. First up is Anchorage, Clark Middle School. This is an old school that is haunted by a woman in a white dress. She'll play with instruments in the band room, appear in empty hallways in the summer, and turn the classroom lights off. She is not known to harm people, just to scare them. Most of the teachers tell the students there is a female ghost that comes up through the floors. Other teachers say there is no ghost. It is all hocus pocus. Courtyard by the Marriott, room 201. This room is haunted by a man who died there, and whose body was not found for several days. According to the staff, also there was a ghost by the name of Ken who wanders the parking lot and the courtyard, in and around the gazebo. There's also what appears to be a cat walking around the hotel. It's very evident in rooms 103 and 107. Diamond Center. It is said that when the Diamond Center was first built, the grounds under it were sacred burial grounds from thousands of years ago, dating back to when the natives first roamed the lands. While digging up the grounds to build the mall, workers came across a few graves, but due to the fact that they were old and small, they continued digging. Now the ghosts roam the area and usually appear in front of lone people in the bathrooms and smaller hallways in the mall. Hanshu Middle School. Some say they have seen a young girl walking around the location of this school. The story is that the young girl died there during construction of the building. It seems that the young girl only comes out during the early morning and late night. Janitors and some young children have said they have seen the young girl. They say the girl looks sad and shouts for help. Some say they've seen her crying. Historic Anchorage Hotel. Anchorage's oldest hotel is haunted by many things. Several guests have reported seeing a young girl walk the second-floor hall. In rooms 215 and 217, the television will turn on and off at will. Also, the water in the sink and tub will run by itself. Employees have reported hearing people coming down the stairs when the hotel is empty, and few have seen a man walk past the stairs. Old Theater. Downtown Old 4th Avenue movie theater. Some see a lady in a long double mirror that are hung on the wall between the men's and women's restrooms. The Little Karaoke Place. The Korean owner of this place was killed by Chinese weightlifters in 1999. The owner's spirit is sometimes seen peeking out the window. Ship Creek. Haunted by the spirit of an Alaskan native woman named Mary, who was murdered there in 1987, she is said to appear to natives who are homeless and warn them not to linger. This haunting is usually reported as being between the old A&S Hospital and the old Alaskan Railroad Terminal. UAA Wendy Williamson Theater. The Wendy is haunted by several different ghosts, but most notably a lady in white, a poltergeist in a light booth, and a man who pushes females down the stairs. West High School. It is said that in the basement auditorium and in the area where it links to the middle school, there are restless creatures that are only semi-human in the area. They take out their anger on a lot of students and young teachers. Rumor has it that the West High School and its neighborhood were once an elusive, swampy forest area, and the creatures hate how their land has become so polluted and contaminated. Next up is Central, Arctic Circle Hot Springs Resort. Many people claim to see the ghost of a woman, things fly off the walls, footsteps can be heard, and more. The ghosts like to roam on the third floor where the library is. Chitna, Old Copper Railroad. This is where the railroad from the Cordova and the Kanaka copper mine. It was closed and covered with dirt. It is now used as a road to access the back area along the Copper River. There have been sightings of gravestones along the dirt road in the woods, but upon second investigation, they would be gone. There was a government housing being built in Chitna from 1997 to 98. It was closed down for a while because the workers would hear voices and children laughing. Also, tools would be misplaced right after workers would put them down. Sometimes at night, in the backwoods along the dirt road, you can hear the voices and children laughing as well. Chugiak, Bitchword Saloon. A young man was shoveling snow from the roof of an adjacent building when his shovel contacted a power line, electrocuting him. Bartenders and patrons have since heard voices and a jukebox playing on its own. They have seen apparitions, items being moved, etc. They believe the spirit of the deceased man continues to inhabit the place. South Birchwood, Bedarka Road in the woods. It is said that deep in the woods, about halfway down the road, there is a place where a 5-year-old girl was killed. Legend has it that the girl was helping her father chop wood for the fireplace in their small cabin, where her mother and little brother were waiting. The father had put the axe in the tree so the girl couldn't accidentally fall down on it. The little girl was said to be a very helpful child and attempted to pull the axe out of the tree and chop the wood herself, while her father was taking a break. The girl pulled the axe out of the tree and fell down, and it hit her in the head. The girl died instantly. With blood running down her face, the father stayed by her side for days and nights in the cold, bitter winter of Alaska, and eventually died of hypothermia. It has been said that at 3:30 a.m., you can see the little girl laying dead in her father's arms while he mourns over her lifeless, cold, and white little body. Next up is Circle Hot Springs. Haunted by a former owner, Ghost does not like renovations. Beers often move across the bar on their own. Footsteps are heard walking across the porch of the rental cabins. Fairbanks, Birch Hill Cemetery. There is a ghost of a young girl in a white dress from the early 1900s. Also reports of a black floating figure and an apparition of a little boy around 7 or 8 dressed in 1930s clothing just walking around. Chena Hot Springs Road. As you first start to drive down this road, to your left is Birch Hill. Numerous people have seen what looks like glowing balls in the sky that cast streaks of bright light everywhere. It has only been seen during the winter months around 7 p.m. or later. Fairbanks Memorial Hospital. Nurses have seen and experienced angels in the back room when a baby is dying in the nursery. The temperature in the room drops to 60 degrees and they experience cold chills. Also, babies can be heard in the room when there are none. Mile 812, Chena Hot Springs Road. This road is haunted by ghostly lights. Late at night, 2 lights that resemble headlights follow passing cars. Sometimes it will start to fly and form one bright light. Other times it will look like fast-moving cars or a truck with bright blue, white, or orange-colored lights. Northern Lights Hotel. A little girl died on the 3rd floor of this abandoned building. After that, the hotel closed off that part of the building. The front desk has reported getting phone calls from the 3rd floor, room 303. A little girl on the phone says she's looking for her mother and then hangs up. No one on the 3rd floor was there to make the call. Gatineau Lodge and Trading Post. Footsteps and voices are heard, as well as the smell of tobacco smoke. Kenai Cemetery. There are several spirits here. One is an older, heavy-set woman who goes by the name Mary. There is also an older gentleman by the name of Arthur Johnson. He has been spotted maintaining his grave site, plus the grave sites of others who are buried there. In the back part of the cemetery are several unmarked graves that contain the remains of servants brought up here to help dig for gold. but when the gold ran dry, it was too expensive to feed them, so they were all killed and buried in graves outside the main cemetery. Ketchikan High School. In 1946, a student fell from a catwalk to his death. He haunts the theater to this day with crying and other noises, and he is visible from the stage if you look up. He is well documented by the media and school officials, and is seen by the majority of the students. He still haunts the school even after it was remodeled. His nickname is Butchie. Ketchikan Graveyard. At night, as you drive up to the main drive of the graveyard, a headless woman appears for a brief instant. Then as you turn, a head is visible on the roadway. Next up is Kotzebue. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Nana Museum. During the spring season, there is a giant puddle under the museum from all the melted snow. A young boy named Alex was playing with a basketball near the museum. His ball went under the building. When he tried to get the ball, he slipped under the building and couldn't get out. He drowned in the water. People say if you bring a basketball into the auditorium, leave it on the floor and say, "Alex, come get your ball," you will hear the ball start bouncing. Night Mute High School. There is said that there is a little girl roaming and haunting the whole school. Staff members and students have seen and heard her. She would sometimes hum, appear in both the boys' and girls' bathrooms, turn lights off and on, and bounce a basketball. No one really knows how she died, but it is said that there is a grave under the classroom 106, and she is mostly in that classroom. Seward, the old Jesse Lee home. In the 1964 earthquake, dozens of children died here. You can hear distant giggles in this building. Other times you can hear children jumping rope or running around. Shungnak, the old recreation hall. As you walk by, you can hear rattling chains. It was kept as a morgue. Sitka, Rookie's Corner, the old Kikasadi Corner. A woman was struck and killed on the blind corner outside this well-known watering hole in southeast Alaska. It used to be known as the Kick or Kikasadi Club, but now it is Rookie's, a sports bar. The story is that the woman left the bar and was extremely drunk. She tried to wander into town on her own, which was a common thing in this small town. Often a cab could be flagged or someone who knew you would pick you up along the way. She staggered onto the road on the blind corner and was literally run over by a young man who had been drinking as well and driving a truck. She was so drunk that she actually got up despite the terrible traumatic wounds that she had received. She waved about screaming and dying, not fully aware of what had happened to her. There were several witnesses to this tragedy. Since the bar was closing, hundreds of people were around, climbing into their vehicles and gathering for an after-hours party. It was a horrific scene. Since then, there have been stories of an apparition of the woman seen on the blind corner waving in and out of the road. She supposedly has appeared to people who are driving under the influence of alcohol, prompting even brave men to park on the side of the road and flag a cab. Also, there are stories that in early pre-dawn hours, terrible moans and death cries can be heard in the same area. The cries seem to be emanating from the bushes that are the cause of the corner being blind. Skagway, Golden North Hotel. Rooms 23 and 14 are haunted by apparitions. And lastly, Soldotna, Bailey Furniture Store. The furniture store used to be a grocery store, and the owner of that store was murdered. The killer was never found. It is said that the man still haunts the place, and sometimes furniture breaks for no reason. Also, there are usually sounds heard from the back office. I hope you enjoyed the video. And remember, some of these places are off limits. Please do not try to visit any that would be illegal to do so. Thank you. And I hope you will join me for the next one.